You're looking at the Margaret Mitchell house here in downtown Atlanta, and it's inside this house that the famed writer wrote Gone with the Wind 70 years ago. We're going to take a look at an incredible collection of Gone with the Wind memorabilia coming up next on Personal FX.
Hello everybody, welcome to today's Personal FX, the Collectibles show.
So John, did you do a lot of holiday shopping over the weekend?
Yeah, I got you something great, Claire. You just have to feed it every day. That's the only thing.
I was going to say I can hardly wait, but I'm not so sure now. You know, one of the things that's really great for gifts are perfume bottles. I've given them as gifts. And today, they're very collectible. We're going to be seeing wonderful examples of Christmas perfume bottles.
And you talk about Christmas. Of course, the Grinch that stole Christmas, some animation cells just went on the auction block, and we'll tell you how they did a little bit later on. It was amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
High prices.
Yeah, you bet.
And people have come from all over to have items appraised. They're curious about the value, the history behind the item. So I'm going to get ready for that first appraisal.
You do that. All right. In the meantime, we're going to send this out to Atlanta, Georgia, where J.D. is beginning his week of super collections. J.D.?
Hey John, you're looking at the apartment where Margaret Mitchell lived, and this is the way it looked in the 1920s. Now, if you look over to the right, there is a desk in the corner with the typewriter on it, and it was on that typewriter that Margaret Mitchell spent 3 years writing Gone with the Wind.
Wow.
And that book was published 70 years ago. The rest, as they say, is history. And we're here with a man, Herb Bridges, who has the largest private collection of Gone with the Wind memorabilia in the United States. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Now, what got you collecting Gone with the Wind? You've been doing it like 30 years,
By
right?
30 years, I got interested in it by getting one book, rereading the book, and people began to come to Atlanta in the mid-60s for convention trades and so forth, and wanted to see something about Gone with the Wind, but we had nothing to show them. And that sort of piqued my interest there.
And you just got one piece and then started getting more.
More.
And now how many pieces do you have?
Oh, thousands of pieces, books, pictures, posters, and things like that.
All right. So, John, we're going to check out Herb's collection of Gone with the Wind memorabilia. And since you're from Atlanta, this is a homegrown segment for you.
Yeah, I can't wait. Boy, there was nothing to show them back then, but there's something to show them today, and we'll do it. We'll look forward to seeing the two of you a little bit later on. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
All right. Claire, you ever seen Gone with the Wind? You like that movie?
I have seen it so many times. I don't think it's possible to see it too many times.
It's a
I'll have to ask
classic.
Herb later how many times he's seen it.
Good idea.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Clark Gable. And let's introduce you to our ace appraisers of the day, Rich Zalachowski, as well as Ron Norris.
Good
Hi,
day.
Claire. How many times have you seen Gone with
Last
the Wind?
year for the first time, beginning to end.
Really?
Yeah.
What about you, Ron?
I've probably seen it 10 times.
I am looking forward to seeing this memorabilia. And our first guest is looking forward to an appraisal. Mary Jane, nice to have you visiting.
Hi, thank you.
And you in New York for the holidays?
No, just for overnight.
Just overnight for an appraisal?
Yes, of course.
Terrific. Tell us about your lovely set.
Well, I picked this up at a auction for antiques and collectibles. I know absolutely nothing about it. I did pay $95 for it because it was sparkly, and the rest is up to you.
I have a feeling you did okay, but our appraisers can tell you.
Okay.
Well, you bought it, first of all, for the right reason, because you enjoyed it. It caught your eye, and I'm sure it's something that you will use and treasure for a number of years.
Nice for the holidays.
Exactly. We're going to flip it over and take a look at the bottom, and we notice that the mark is the International Silver Company, who for many, many years have been known for their fine silver plate and sterling services. This particular set is the Chippendale pattern, which is probably just reminiscent of an early 19th century pattern, although it's more of a contemporary plated set. We also flipped the tray over before the show and find that that's made by another maker, and that's William Rogers.
Now, how does that affect value when tray and set are different manufacturers?
It will affect the value because I'm assuming that the original set did come with its own tray, but sometimes these are similar in look and style, and people can mix them up.
I think if you take a look at this, I don't think that having this not be the exact identical pattern as the other pieces, it's going to hurt it all that much, because the tray itself is something that is highly sought after. And I do pretty well at auction, currently with silver plate, which seems to be going up. I do like this particular pattern because it's anything that you have colonial, this will fit in. And it is after the English Chippendale style of the 1700s.
Worth about how much?
Well, I like it. If you went out and bought it, you'd pay $350, maybe $400 in a store.
But you only paid $95.
Yeah, so you did real good. So you made a good guess. Nice gut feeling on your part. But probably on the aftermarket, you're going to top out at auction at $150 or so.
Exactly, I'd agree in that 150 ballpark on that secondary market.
Very good.
Okay, thank
You did well. Would you like to
Thank
make a
you.
profit, put it up for sale?
Yeah, so I'll entertain some bids.
Thank you so very much for being
Thank you
with
very
us.
much. Happy holidays.
Thank you. And our bid line number is 212-802-0082. That's the number to call if you'd like to buy anything that's up for sale. And Alice is going to join us next. Come on in, Alice. We're always learning on this program. Now I learned to look for the manufacturer on the bottom of the tray. Good to have you with us. That's very pretty. Tell us about it.
This was my mother's. It's about 50 years old, Marcus. We wanted to just see what it was worth.
Do you have memories of her wearing it all the time?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, on the back of this particular pendant we have, it is marked sterling. It does appear to be sterling, which is kind of a common thing, and you would almost expect it to be. As far as those being marcasites, when I took a look at them through the loop before, I'm not convinced that they are. A lot of times people think marcasite jewelry has actual marcasites in there, which is actually iron sulfide. It's a mineral. Those to me look like they're steel. Okay, but that is not unusual, and whether it's a marcasite or not, I don't think in this particular case, Rich, it matters all that much.
I agree. I couldn't tell, with a loop what exactly it was. It was tough on this little piece. All the detail is quite fine on it. There is some nice, a little bit of filigree work here and there. Definitely a 1930s influence, not quite Art Deco, but
And is the detail, the
definitely
filigree
work.
work, what's really going to add to the value?
I think the overall composition and the style of this particular piece is what makes it attractive. From a price point of view, I'm going to put it at between like $60 and $75, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative. One of the reasons being that there's an awful lot of this being made today. So that is going to really hurt the value, particularly since this is from the 1800s, and I'm going to come in about $30 to $35.
And from a sentimental point of view, I'm sure worth a whole lot more to you as a family item. But we do give you the option if you'd like to put it up for sale.
No.
Keep it, enjoy it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful
You're welcome.
holiday.
Thank you.
And Peter has got something he wants to show us. Hi, Peter. Hi. Well, this has personality.
It sure does.
Where did you get it, and do you have a name for it?
No, we received it from a family friend who's since passed away.
But you didn't name it yet.
No, not at all.
Claire, I think you pretty much wrapped this piece up in one word, and that word is personality. We'll turn it around. On the back side, it does have some markings with an artist signature that's tough to make out. It almost looks like the word Carrington or something like that, but it does say made in Italy.
Right.
So perhaps the name is Italian rather than anglicized.
Is there something, chances are they made a lot of these?
I would say so. I mean, this is probably made for export. 1950s, 1960s, I'm thinking.
Yeah, it screams to me 1950s. It just looks like that kind of an item that you would pick up in a gift shop. And probably back then it cost you 25 cents to boot because obviously there's a big difference between what we pay today and what we did then. But you're right, it's personality and it is so different. I don't know, what kind of an art market would that fall into, Rich?
Well,
I'm kind of lost.
The thing is, if you put this into a sale or some sort of an auction where you had cat lovers competing, I think that would have a lot to do with it, because to a cat collector, this is going to be a very unique piece, and even
And
to
if
the
you don't
person,
have one.
yeah,
Yeah.
and even to a person who might have hundreds or thousands of cat figurines, which we've probably seen on the show dozens of times,
Right.
this is still going to be one of these unique standalone
Well, listen,
pieces.
I named it P for personality. I need you guys P for praise.
P for price, I'll be conservative and say about $30, $35 because of the personality, but to a cat lover it could escalate from there.
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative at about $15 for it.
There are plenty of cat lovers out there. They might be interested in it if you're putting it up for sale.
I sure am. I'm willing to share.
Willing to share. Good. Good thing to do this holiday season. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And now it's time for the Collector's Update.
Last week, Christie's Auction House had a very animated auction as they auctioned off some animation cells, particularly the works of Chuck Jones. As a matter of fact, though, we got to see some of these here in the apartment. Now, specifically How the Grinch That Stole Christmas. That was here in the apartment. That went up on the auction block. Let's take a look at this. It was actually estimated to sell for $3,000 to $4,000. That piece sold for $8,050. And also the sell from Another Froggy Evening. The estimate for that was $1,500 to $2,000, and it sold for $3,220. As a matter of fact, the entire auction brought in $658,536. Now you know why they call him the Grinch that stole Christmas. After you pay $8,000, you got no money left for anything else. Stay with us. When Personal FX returns, we're going to be appraising a lot of terrific items here in the apartment. Only on Personal FX can you see a live appraisal of Flip Wilson. But they brought it. We're going to do it. Also, some items out in Atlanta, Georgia that we have to learn about, so stay with us.
It is time now to tell you about the late bids from Friday's show. Randall had his glassware set appraised by Susie and Judith for $225. Sean from Meridian, Mississippi bid $125, and Randall said, no sale. Phyllis had her porcelain figurines appraised at $600. Doreen from Carson City, Nevada bid $501.50, and Phyllis is thinking about it. And lastly, Marion had her cap gun appraised for $225. Barbara from Delaware bid $218. The price was right because Marion said, sold. And that's the last roundup. We got some more appraisals to get to, John.
And we're going to do that right now as we go out to Atlanta, Georgia, where Liz has joined us. Hi, Liz. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good, thanks. What do you got there?
I've got a porcelain clock that was given to my great-grandmother by my great-grandfather, and it's been passed down to my father. And we believe that it's turn of the century. It's the porcelain is stamped with Bonn, Germany.
And I think on the table, I think also I saw that you also have the original key with it. Is that right?
Yes, yes, we have the original key. It's in perfect working order. Everything is original. There's absolutely no damage to it at all.
Wow, it got passed down very carefully. You can see that.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
What do you two think of that one?
Well, the clock mechanism itself, John, is the Ansonia Clock Company, I believe. And it wasn't unusual for them to import ceramic cases for it and put the clockworks inside of that particular type of clock. The key thing here is, number one, that it does work, and Rich, that this thing is clean as a whistle.
It is clean. Nice transfer. Everything that should be there is there. No chips or cracks anyplace, and it is working. That's very important. Royal Bonn, the manufacturer, known for their quality porcelain throughout the late 19th century, early 20th century. All in all, it's a gorgeous little clock.
How often do you see those keys? Do those get lost a lot?
They do get lost and misplaced. In fact, at auction, we've sold just tray lots of just keys for furniture and clocks, and just a tray lot of 20 keys will bring you a couple $100.
Is that right?
That's tough to find.
I have 2 boxes of keys at home that I use, one for clocks and then one for locks and doors and things like that, just because you find them. I mean, you find them all over the place. So keys are generally easily replaced.
I see.
The clock itself is not. Nice workmanship all the way around, and that was never on a fireplace, because a lot of times with these ceramic clocks, if they were on a fireplace, they're going to discolor because of the heat.
No.
So what do you think then?
Value-wise, I'm going to put it between $250 and $300 because of its immaculate condition.
I'm going to go to $350 on this particular piece. I really, really like the condition.
Liz, what do you think? Do you want to take some bids on that item, or do you want to hold on to it?
No, I'd like to hold on to it.
Don't blame you. Thank you for bringing it by. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty. And Donna has joined us. Hi, Donna.
Hi,
how you doing?
I'm great.
Good. What'd you bring?
I brought my Flip Wilson doll.
What do you know
beside
about
Geraldine. He was mine from when I was a little girl.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And does he still, I see there's a string, does he still?
He hasn't talked in years.
All right.
Nor has she.
Well, this was issued originally in 1970. And it was, in fact, when probably at the beginning of the height of Flip Wilson's career. He had his own TV show for a while, but he appeared on many, many variety shows and just captured the imagination of the American public.
He did, boy. He was a genius. I mean,
yeah.
He was in his day.
The one thing that I did notice on this, you can pull the string out. It appears that whatever is on the inside is just off its track. Probably it could be fixed. Somebody could open it up. You'd have to get it restitched in order to get it to work. Whether the cost of doing that is worth it, I'm not 100% sure at this point.
And the Geraldine character that's pictured on the back was especially appealing because of her saucy nature. I mean, she said a lot of things that at the time a lot of us just thought but really wouldn't utter, especially on network television. And now there's actually the beginning of a Flip Wilson revival because of the advent of cable and there being so many channels. I believe there are some networks that are actually rerunning that show currently. So there could be a Flip revival. And there aren't too many Flip Wilson items that came out at the time either, so not easy to find.
But these were made in a large quantity and also issued for a very long time. And I know that up until 1986, these were still available on the market, if you can believe that. Yeah. So it's not something that was just done in 1 year and they didn't make any more of them. It is very collectible, not only for, let's say, doll collectors or TV personality collectors, but also black collectors, and it is listed in black collectible books.
Let's go back to the voice for a second. How much would it cost? Is it very expensive to get it repaired? Does that affect the value? Is it worth it to do it?
I don't know how much it costs to actually get it fixed, okay? And I'm not even sure if there's too many people that would know how to do it correctly. I'm sure it could be, but you know, is it worth it? I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, more often than not, John, once the voice box is gone, it's gone, unfortunately, unless you can find a tattered doll with a good voice box and do a Frankenstein-like operation.
So the value here?
But right now, I'd say the value in this condition is probably between $15 and $25. If it were working, I'd go $75 and upwards on them.
Yeah, absolutely right on the money.
All right. What do you think? You want to take some bids?
I'd be happy to.
All right, let's see what happens. Thank you for bringing that by.
Sure.
Appreciate that. And if the devil makes you do it, here's the number to call, 212-802-0082. Use that number to place any bids on any items up for sale on today's show. And Lillian has joined us. Hi, Lillian.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
What'd you bring?
It's a book of gaming tokens from Nevada.
Okay. Now, where'd you get this?
It's my son-in-law's.
All right.
Well, this was issued by the Franklin Mint, and these were made to replicate both dollar gaming pieces and half-dollar gaming pieces from the famous casinos in Las Vegas, many of which have long been torn down and are considered architectural and design icons by people who are very into gambling in Vegas.
That's right. And of course, from the Franklin Mint, they issue not only these, but many, many other collectible type things to be collectibles, limited editions, etc., and so on. Generally, what we find with Franklin Mint items is that the purchase price, the aftermarket doesn't come anywhere near what the original purchase price was.
Excuse me, Ron, if I can for just a second, I'm going to hold this so we can get a closer shot and more detail of some of the items that we're seeing here.
Now, a couple things that Rich and I don't know is, are these sterling silver or are they plated? And we don't know. So the appraisal that I give is going to be basically both. Okay. On the items, if they are not silver, sterling silver, solid sterling silver, which means they're plated, I'm going to give 50 cents a piece for them on the aftermarket. If they are sterling, I'm going to come in at whatever the current price is for silver, which is $6 an ounce right now, and basically that's the price I would get per ounce, and those are probably an ounce a piece.
They're probably about an ounce a piece.
How can we find out if they're
Well, you have to take them out. Or what you can do is actually get a catalog and the documentation for it, and that will tell you exactly what it is.
Because what the binding is tell us, it's a proof set, which means these tokens have never been touched. So to take them out and start messing with them, you're going to get fingerprints, they're going to get instantly tarnished, more or less.
Right.
All right, so that sounds like a lot of math.
If we're talking sterling silver, there's about 56 pieces, so we're $250 to $275 on that. If they're not, perhaps there still is some appeal to gaming collectors, and I'm going to say $30 to $50 if they're not.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, that's good.
Yep. Okay.
Same numbers.
Good. All right. Do you want to take some bids?
No, I'm going to hold on to it till I really know what's what.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Thank you very much for bringing those. Interesting. I don't think I've seen those before. And Deborah has joined us. Hi, Deborah.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Good. What'd you bring? This looks very interesting.
Well, I'm not quite sure. I know it's some sort of tin toy that sounds like an organ.
Okay, where'd you get it?
At an auction.
At an auction? All right.
John, wander up.
John.
All right, let's see what happens.
You do the honors.
Is Claire playing her harmonica again, or is that this machine that we're seeing?
Oh, I've been wanting to hear that wound up, John.
Very interesting.
Just let us know when you get tired.
No, I could go on forever. What did you think?
This item was put out by a company called Chain Toys, and they were based out of New Jersey. They opened in 1903 and were in business till about 1979. They were primarily in northern Jersey in a town called Harrison is where they were based, and they were known for their graphic tin lithograph toys, both vehicles, toys like this. They made roller coasters, all kinds of fun tin litho, and their heyday was the 1930s into the 1940s when they came out with most of their well-known
Is that when
pieces.
this is from?
That's probably mid to late 1940s.
I would think late 1940s for this particular toy. And it was probably made and even distributed all the way through the 1950s. They are a local New Jersey company, and their items are very collectible. You have people that just specialize in chain. But they're really known for their mechanical toys, and this is more of a music box, so it falls into a slightly different category than we would normally think of mechanical toys that they're famous for.
Right. This one is in great condition, and many of them that I see are in great condition because it's not a toy that you can throw around, knock around. You can get pretty tired standing there for 3 or 4 minutes as a kid doing this. So therefore, you don't see a lot of wear on these, especially with normal usage.
So the value?
This toy, basically, the value is between $100 and $150 on the high end. It's in great shape.
Yeah, I was going to go one and a quarter, so same range.
I keep expecting like a minister to pop out. What do you think? Do you want to take some bids?
I'll listen to some offers.
Let's see what happens. Thank you very much for bringing that by. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's go back out to Atlanta, Georgia. And John Davis, I was going to ask you what the weather is, but I guess we could say it's a very windy day down there.
Yes, it is, John. The good weather is gone with the wind. Chilly and windy. And we're in Margaret Mitchell's house, and it was in this house between 1925 to 1932 that she lived, and she wrote her Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, Gone with the Wind. Now, look at this. This is a shot of Margaret Mitchell on the telephone in 1937, right after she found out that she had won the Pulitzer Prize.
Wow.
And she wrote the prize-winning work, John, on this very typewriter right here. This is a second-hand Remington portable typewriter, and she wrote Gone with the Wind on that very typewriter. Imagine the bucks that's worth. Big bucks we're talking. And we're going to check out an incredible collection of Gone with the Wind memorabilia when Personal FX continues.
An original copy of the shooting script from Gone with the Wind sold at an auction this month for $9,200. Now, these scripts were originally given to the principal actors by producer David Oselznick, and that is brought to you by Advil. This month that happened.
Isn't that something? Welcome back to Personal FX. So many movies are made, so few stand the test of time. It's like Gone with the Wind will live forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Classic. That's one of those classics.
Wonderfully done.
Yeah, so let's go to Atlanta, Georgia, and see some of this great memorabilia. JD?
Hey, John and Claire, we're back here with Herb Bridges. And as I said before, he has the largest Gone with the Wind collection, private collection that's really known, right?
Yeah, that's have that tag on it.
You have that tag on it. And now, Gone with the Wind has been published in how many countries?
42 countries over the world and translated into 38 different languages.
Wow. And you have lots of Gone with the Wind books from all sorts of different countries. But this is really one of your favorite pieces, right?
That's the prize. That's the first edition. That's the way it looked when it first came out in 1936. And
signed by Margaret Mitchell.
Signed by Margaret Mitchell, yes.
Wow. Now, there's one for sale in town. For how much?
In town, it's about $19,500.
Wow. But they're saying, John, that this is in better condition, so what would this be worth, Herb? $18,500.
No, maybe. That would be nice.
Would you sell it?
No, I really wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No, I treasure it.
How many times have you read Gone with the Wind?
Oh, maybe 3 or 4. That's
really?
About it. Yeah, I just collect more than reading.
Well, that's not bad. 3 or 4, that's not bad.
Not bad at all. Now, look at this. He also has an incredible collection of about 500 posters, and these are Gone with the Wind posters from various countries. Tell us about this one on the left over here.
Well, that's one from Sweden, the 1950s release. They changed the image a bit from the American design, and that's why they're so interesting, I think.
Now, if you look to the right over here, John and Claire, this one is from Britain, correct?
Yeah, an English poster, changing a bit, and there's a tag on there saying, for those who've never seen it, they're releasing it again in the 50s.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have one down here which is a movie poster from Brazil.
From Brazil, using the American image, but in the Portuguese language. Very colorful, very interesting.
And this is really the most common image. This is the
Yes.
one that Americans are used to seeing,
Yes,
correct?
the generation today, that's the image they're familiar with.
Wow. And John and Claire, they had the premiere of Gone with the Wind in 1939 here in Atlanta at the Lowe's Grand Theater.
That's right, on Peachtree Street.
And
Yes.
this was a huge event for Atlanta, wasn't it?
The biggest.
Wow.
Yes. All the newspapers covered all the events, and you can see the drawing there with the crowds out in front of the theater for the premiere, and there's a premiere ticket.
Right, this is a ticket that would get you into the 1939 premiere of Gone with the Wind.
And of course they had a special program.
Look at this.
Very colorful, very good image, and it's the colors have held up through the years. Very nice.
Now, what has happened to these original drawings?
I
this
wish I knew.
painting?
I wish I knew. I do not know where they are. I'd like to know. In fact, I'd like to own one of them.
Wow.
That'd be nice.
And they also did mass marketing and merchandising for Gone with the Wind. It was really one of the first films that they ever did that with. Look at this. This is a cookbook, a Gone with the Wind cookbook that you would get if you bought this toothpaste.
They would give it to you.
And then send it in.
Yeah.
And look at this. We have Scarlett O'Hara games. This is like a marble game.
Yeah,
right?
like Chinese checkers. Has nothing to do with Gone with the Wind, but they market it and people would buy it in the dime store, I'm sure.
How strange.
Wow. And then look at this. They have brooches, a
Yes.
Gone with the Wind brooch, and that was from Lux Soap.
Yeah, send in 3 Lux wrappers, and you could get, for 15 cents, get a brooch like Scarlett wore in the film.
And of course, they have Scarlett O'Hara perfume and
yeah.
cologne. How does this smell? Have you tried smelling this?
Maybe we'd better not.
Ah, yeah. It wasn't the highest quality of perfume.
No.
Now, what would something like this go for today?
Some of these powder boxes, if you can find them, $300 or $400. And the perfume bottles will range around 100, maybe a little bit more than that.
Right. Like some of your pieces are highly valuable,
Yeah.
others are moderately valuable.
That's true.
But look at this. We have some great items here. These are clothes that were worn by Clark Gable
Yes.
in the film. And
Wow.
why is it rare to find clothing from Gone with the Wind?
Well, most of the clothing was cut up and used in other films. You know, just they were finished with them in this film. But they have the label in, the correct label.
Yeah, if you look inside here, you can see that this says Clark Gable,
And the film
42639, and then that's the costume number?
yes. Each costume was numbered, had its own number.
Wow.
These trousers that he wore in a scene, and a shirt, so forth.
And we also have Vivian. This was worn by
Olivia de Havilland
Olivia de Havilland.
as Melanie.
And here she is.
A sweater.
And this is a costume fitting photo,
Yes,
right?
yes, they had to do that to be sure. A corset that was worn by Vivian Lee. It has the little label in it with the costume number and her name and all in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't have a Gone with the Wind collection without having scripts.
Yeah, they had to learn their lines. of
That's
course.
right.
Yeah.
We have a working script here. And then, John, I believe in the collector's speak, this is the
kind of a presentation copy after the film was completed.
that David O. Selznick gave to people who worked on the film.
The cast and special people that worked on the film.
Uh-huh.
And this has David O. Selznick's autograph.
Yes.
And this belonged to...
Mr. Wilbur Kurtz. He was a historian from Atlanta that went to Hollywood to help them with the film.
So that's a look at an incredible collection of Gone with the Wind memorabilia. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I had a good time.
Thanks for educating us about Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
John and Claire, back to you.
I was curious of how you came to acquire the costumes, how difficult a challenge that was.
Well, the costumes come up at auction periodically at Sotheby's or Christie's or Butterfield, and they're offered for auction, and if you can reach their price, you can get it.
What are the prices usually?
Well, sometimes...
Come on, give it up.
Several thousand.
Several thousand.
Yes, they do. Particularly the girls, the women's outfit are more, attractive and so forth.
You say you've seen pieces, though, that have been ridiculously overpriced.
Oh, I thought so.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. But, but the outer garments are the ones that are most valuable, I think.
Okay.
Well, Herb, I know that you had to move this collection from your home to the Margaret Mitchell home as an added touch for us, and we just wanted to say thank you very much. We really enjoyed the collection and you doing that for us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I had a good time.
So, J.D., thank you, buddy.
All right, John.
Thank
All right.
you. How nice to have a piece of motion picture history.
Yeah, something like that, like a classic.
That really
Yeah,
is.
that is. All right, stay with us, folks. We have a lot more coming your way. But first, let's clue you in on what you're going to see later this week on Personal FX. Personal FX is in my hometown of Atlanta, Georgia this week, and here's what you can expect. Tuesday, it's another Personal FX First, a collection of 10,000 pieces of sweetheart jewelry. On Wednesday, we'll respond to an alarm from a collecting couple's home that's filled with firefighting memorabilia. Christmas is for kids, so Thursday it's an encore presentation of Kids Day. And we'll wrap up the week on Friday with a stellar collection, props and costumes from the Star Wars trilogy. That's what you can expect later this week on Personal FX.
You're looking at the skyline of Atlanta, Georgia, the city that held the 1996 Olympic Games, and it's also home to Georgia State University. One of its more famous alums is our own John Burke. Welcome back to Personal FX. It's not too late to do some Christmas shopping right here on Personal FX. Let's tell you what's up for sale today as we start out with the tea and coffee set. Silver plated. The tray and set are actually made by different makers, but that doesn't really detract from the value, priced at $150. We have a ceramic figurine. This cat has personality. Italian from the 50s or 60s, made for export, worth about $15 to $35. And then there's the Flip Wilson doll. It was first issued in 1970, put on the market until 1986, and it is worth $15 to $25. There is a tin wind-up toy from the late 1940s. It is from the Chain Toy Company, very graphic, in excellent condition, and it comes with a price tag of $100 to $150. See something you like? Well, give us a call. 212-802-0082, and there are more appraisals. John?
And we're going to get to them right now as we go out to Atlanta, Georgia, where Cindy has joined us. Hi, Cindy. How are you?
Just fine. How are you, John?
Doing good, thanks. What do you got there?
I brought a compact today. It's got the lipstick and the powder. When you open it up, the lipstick pops out, and there's the lipstick. And then if you lean the lid forward, it'll automatically pop the powder open.
Well, that's nice. What do you two think of that?
Nice engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, and typical of what we would see in the 1950s. Is that enamel on the front of it?
I really don't know.
It's hard to tell over the TV screen. Yeah.
Typical 50s, though.
The only thing it has is stratin right here, and it has it on the lipstick.
Right. Well, that was the manufacturer, and they did make these during that period of time. These are collectible. They're great for people that want to, get a retro item as well. And like I said, the engineering is pretty good on this one.
Exactly. It screams of 1950s in terms of style. It looks to be in good condition. Value-wise, it's probably going to be between $20 and $30 somewhere in there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In the beginning, though, you were keying in on what the top was made of. Does that matter? Because we didn't really solve that.
Sometimes it would, but this doesn't look like anything special. I thought maybe there might be something special that she knew that we couldn't pick up on TV. That's why I asked that question.
I see. As if it were ivory or something.
Then I think we're looking at a whole different animal.
Okay. All right. Well, what do you think? Do you want to take some bids on that? Do you want to hold on to it?
Sure, I'll take some bids.
And we'll do that for you. Thank you very much for bringing that by. We appreciate that.
All right, thanks, John.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to call John in. John, come on in. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Nice to see you. What'd you bring? What is this?
This is an Urte sculpture.
All right. Now, where'd you get this? What do you know about it?
About 10 years or so ago, a friend and I were walking through Soho down in Manhattan, and I wanted to show him an art gallery where I had recently purchased something. And we walked in, and they had an Urte exhibit. We saw this, and we bought it because we liked it.
All right. Well, that's a good reason. What do you two think?
Well, this is a sculpture that was issued back in 1988. Urte passed away in 1990, and when this was issued, the gentleman was about 96 years old. Urte, known as one of the preeminent illustrators, fashion designers, stage designers. He was pretty much the king, in the earlier part of this century, 1920s, 1930s. He designed covers for Bazaar magazine and a lot of the big publications at the time. And a lot of Art Deco was influenced by his work and vice versa.
Particularly in fashion.
Exactly. He was known for large headpieces, big, grandiose pieces of fashion, stage design, etc. Now this is a piece that is a limited edition, quote-unquote, of about 500 pieces. It's based on Erte's work, but not necessarily, Erte did not necessarily have anything to do with its manufacture, simply its his approval of the piece in terms of design.
And it was basically to capitalize on his designs from previous times, and it was late in his life. And they made several different lines. I think they had maybe 20 or 30 of these that were produced. And it was to capitalize pretty much on his fame at that particular point. And Rich is right. He didn't actually sculpt this. The foundry sculpted it. He just approved it.
Okay,
right.
So
and this is from a work that he had previously done, an art picture that he had previously done.
Okay, so the value?
Insurance replacement value is probably going to be more or less the same that what it was paid for, which I assume at the time was probably at least a couple $1,000s, or close to it. There's not a huge secondary market on these, John, because A, they are still available from the original galleries that issued them, and I don't think, only 10 years has passed, not a big time to turn around to develop a real secondary market.
That's the key thing,
So
to really
you agree with
determine
the
its value. Yeah, because it's only 10 years old. There's not a lot of activity on the secondary market. We're going to need a little bit more history. So whatever you paid for it is what I would put on it.
Okay. And that was 1,000 or so, or what was the number? Val,
what did you pay for?
I paid $6,000.
So probably, insurance
replacement, then we'll
okay,
do that.
keep it right there. All right. Do you want to take some bids on it?
Absolutely.
All right, let's see what happens. Thank you, John,
Great,
for bringing
thank
that by. Just learned a lot. All right, let's go back out to Atlanta, Georgia, where Laura now has joined us to have something appraised. Hi, Laura, how are you?
Hi, John. How about you today?
Oh, doing real good, thanks.
Good.
Who you got there next to you?
It's a Madam Hendren talking doll, and she's marked right here with genuine Madam Hendren doll, and C-126, made in the USA, and she actually has a phonograph on the inside.
Wow. Does she work? Does she say something?
Yes, she does. The cylinder in her today, she says her nightly prayers.
Wow. See if we can. Look at that. Maybe I should probably know something about this, but I've never seen this before. What is this?
Well, John, the reason you probably haven't is this doll was issued in 1922, so it's got some age to it.
Wow.
And it's probably one of the first talking type of dolls that would work that way. Rich, what do you think?
Exactly. The original manufacturer was Georgine Averill, and it's right, early 1920s. Not too easy to come by in any condition. Value-wise on this, if she's in pristine condition, we're talking $600 and upwards. She looks a little bit worn, and you know, we're not too bad though. So I'm going to say between $250 and $300.
Well, I'm going to go as high as $400 even in that condition because of the rarity and the uniqueness. Yeah.
All right. What do you think? Do you want to take some bids on that, or do you want to hold on to it?
No, I think I'll take some bids today.
All right, it's fascinating. Let's see what happens. Thank you, Laura, for bringing that by. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, folks, you still need some ideas for Christmas gifts? Well, when Personal FX returns, we're going to be talking about some vintage perfume bottles created especially for the holidays. Stay tuned. Join us for the Super Collectors. We do it every day at 1 o'clock. Some of the best hits of Personal FX. It's the Super Collectors every day.
Welcome back to Personal FX. Perfume bottles have been around for thousands of years, but it was only in the 19th century that manufacturers started making beautiful presentations like these on the table in front of me. And joining us right now is Christy Mayer-Lefkowitz, who is the author of The Art of Perfume. She knows everything about perfume. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
In time for the holidays, you brought in a lot of beautiful Christmas perfume bottles.
Yes.
Why don't you begin to give us an idea of when manufacturers first started producing them?
They were first introduced in the 1920s, in the early of the 20s, and they were absolutely extraordinary. This particular one I like very, very much. It is a perfume by Molinard, and the name of the perfume was Cloche de Noël.
It's shaped like a bell?
It's shaped like a bell. It means actually Christmas bells. And it was presented in this wonderful red box, a very festive looking presentation.
How much was it worth then, and how much has it gone up in value today?
It's gone up quite a bit. It was probably worth around $150 then, and today it's worth close to $900.
Ooh. Now, the one next door is very interesting. It has three little perfume bottles.
It was a perfume presentation by Prince Machiavelli. And when you close this particular box, it looks like a snowball, and it's called the Snowball Presentation.
Now, do collectors look more for the manufacturer? What is it they're looking for?
It depends on the collector. Some people collect a certain manufacturer. Some people collect by themes, and they would, for instance, purchase only crown-shaped bottles or floral themes or women.
Or if you're into snowballs.
Or, well, that's kind of rare. You can't find too many snowballs.
So maybe just by the design itself.
By the design itself, yes. Or some people will collect from the Art Deco period, some from the 19th century.
But this is one expensive snowball.
Yes, very. It's about $350 or $500, something like that.
You brought, speaking of rare, you brought something right next door that is especially special to you and rare. Tell us about it.
It's wonderful. I think it's the only perfume presentation with a religious theme, completely religious theme. You can see the black glass bottle has in front of it a nativity scene, beautifully gilded, and the stopper is in the shape of Madonna and Child, also gilded. And I think that the nicest part of the whole presentation is this chapel-like box.
It's very interesting.
Yes.
Now, not every bottle is quite as expensive. You also brought in some examples of more affordable.
Yes.
There's one that's star-shaped.
That is actually a Christmas tree ornament. There's a very small bottle trapped inside this red plexiglass star, which can be hung on the branch of your Christmas tree. And it was for Evening in Paris, a bourgeois perfume. This is of the 50s, and it's worth around $350.
And for those people who like, you know, Santa, and you hang a stocking by the chimney, there's even one. Tell me about this one.
This one is a coty perfume called L'aimant, which means magnet. And you can hang this little stocking from your tree branch or from your chimney. And this is around $100, $150. It's quite affordable.
How very nice. There's also something for everyone, from a glass slipper to, I know, for those people who are avid skiers right here, like my producer Karen Martin. What an interesting perfume bottle.
This is terribly rare. Yes, the box itself is sloped, like a ski slope. And the two coty perfumes, L'aimant and Emerald, which mean magnet and emerald, are placed on two little wooden skis.
Absolutely adorable.
And it's very rare. It's from the late 40s.
I thank you so much for bringing in some of the rare and more common, but all beautiful perfume bottles.
Thank you.
Nice to have you with us. Hope you have a wonderful holiday.
Same to you.
So, John, did you get some Christmas shopping ideas?
I certainly did. And I bet you all that perfume is guaranteed to smell better than with the Gone with the Wind perfume from the 30s, I bet
I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so. All right. It is time now for our Mailbag Minute. This is where we answer as many questions as humanly possible from our mailbag. Recently, we put our appraiser, John Bruno, to the test, and all I can say, John, is ready, set, go.
Alan Keeler of Holyoke, Massachusetts. You have a Hostess Ginger Ale Cooler. It's worth a chillin' $200. Kathy Hawkins of Raymond, Texas. Your handmade shuttle loom is a true museum-quality antique from the early 1800s. It will weave a value of $25,000. Sandy Haynes of Roseville, California. Your 1950s Bing Crosby Jr. Juke will play to a tune of $500. David Hentz of Olympia, Washington. Your figural smokestack is a breath of fresh air at $250. Frank Marshall from Uma, Louisiana. You have a set of Beatles dolls. I don't need help because I love them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. At $500. Bill Lee of Peoria, Illinois. Your 1930s hotel model slot machine is no gamble at $350. Genevieve Pijou of Muskegon, Michigan. Your carved pirate ship will sail the seas at $100. And that's a Mailbag Minute.
$25,000? I guess that letter was worth the price of a stamp, wasn't it? What a good day that is. Stay with us, folks. When Personal FX returns, we got the big bids coming your way. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Personal FX, the Collectibles Show. Let's get started with these big bids. In order to do that, we start in Atlanta, Georgia, where Cindy brought the compact. Cindy, Eric from Anderson, Indiana, has called in with an offer of $40.
Sold.
All right. Mary Jane with the tea and coffee set. David from Omaha, Nebraska wants it for $225.
I'll think about that.
All right. Peter with the ceramic cat. Anna from Kona, Hawaii has called in with an offer for you of $75.
So.
All righty.
Yeah, personality.
Yeah,
Somebody like
that's
that. And let's go back out to Atlanta and let Laura know for your Madame Hendren doll. Fran from Richmond, Texas is offering you $325.50.
I think I'll think about that.
Please do.
All righty.
And Donna, for your Flip Wilson doll, Jimmy from Burbank, California, has bid $61.
I'll think about it.
Deborah, for that great tin wind-up toy, Joseph from Hollywood, Florida, has an offer of $260.
Sold.
All right, let's go back out to Atlanta and say goodbye, and thanks to J.D. J.D.?
Hey, we want to thank her. Thank you so much
Sure.
for showing us your collection, as well as the Margaret Mitchell House for allowing us to do the show from here. Tomorrow we'll be in Atlanta with the collection of, first ever, a collection of sweetheart jewelry. That's all tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, J.D. Thanks, Herb.
All right.
Thank you. What a special location for a wonderful collection. And we want to thank all of you for being with us. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
So long.